So I thought Kegels were only for women, but they're for men too. Anal laxity is like the opening or the tightness of the anus.
So, like Paul Wall, get it right, get it tight. Gotcha. Do you know some people don't get like anal and mouth swabs?
They do not.
That's a whole nother conversation. All right, welcome back to another episode of Keep On Loving, the podcast. If you don't know by now, I am your lovely co-host, Ahmea Pacheco-Branch.
And I am Javontae Williams. The Javontae Williams. That one.
The
one you heard about.
The number one. I'm one of one.
I'm the only one. Yes, Beyonce. So if you are watching this episode in order, we're still in the same clothes.
Because I couldn't change.
Because we committed to doing these podcast episodes.
We did.
We got people behind the cameras helping us.
Shout out to the people behind the cameras helping.
Dylan, what's the name of your company? Story Group. Link here. And so we are consistently going to get these episodes out. And I think it's a good thing for us to talk about consistency because that impacts health so much.
Absolutely.
That impacts health so much. And in so many different ways. So consistency, there's so much in terms of health that leans on consistency. What are you inconsistent with?
We were just having this conversation today. Clocking in. Like, I forget to clock in all the time. Like, I just...
You have to explain why.
Because I just pull up to my desk and just
your salary, but our time management is clocking in.
Correct. So, like, by the time I get to my desk, I just throw my stuff on my desk. I plug my laptop in, and in my mind, I'm going to go to my time keep and do all of that. But then Teams pops up and then Outlook pops up. And it's like, oh, yes, I should respond to this email. And now it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I've missed everything.
That's a very boring inconsistency, but very safe. You know what I'm inconsistent about?
Oh, yes.
You ready?
Yes.
The girl's going to be in the comments.
Oh.
By the girls, I mean the boys.
Are we talking about, are you inconsistent about texting? Oh, because I was...
You want to guess again?
Are you...
Because this is Philly Keep On Loving, the sexual wellness podcast.
Oh! Are you like a...
I am inconsistent with Kegels. Kegel exercises.
Well, you know, I can give you some remedies.
So I thought Kegels were only for women, right? But they're for men too. Because everyone has a pelvic floor, right? And so all of your internal organs sit on that pelvic floor, that muscle that lines like the floor of the pelvis. You're giving me some weird faces right now. And so doing Kegel exercises for men helps with preventing urinary incontinence, stronger, satisfying orgasms.
Can we drop in a definition of incontinence?
Incontinence.
See, I can't even say the word.
It means going to the bathroom on yourself. Oh,
right? Well, yeah.
Not being able to control your
definition right up there. That's all I need.
Not being able to control your bladder, and should you choose to bottom, it also helps with anal laxity. I just found out what anal laxity is.
We're gonna put that up there also.
Dylan's like, no. I will not be looking up all these. Anal laxity is like the opening or the tightness of the anus.
So, like Paul Wall, get it right, get it tight. Got you.
So when someone says, "Oh, they don't have no walls" or "they got loose walls," it's actually a lax of anal laxity. So Kegels help prevent that. And ever since I found this out, I knew I should be doing Kegel exercises, and I just don't. You're supposed to do 10 reps, 3 sets, 3 times a day. And it's very hard to keep up with.
Maybe I'll start to Kegel too.
But, there are so many things in our health that we are inconsistent with. And so, like, if you're a person living with HIV, taking HIV meds.
So you know what? When I first started my meds, Because, like, you know what? Being here on this podcast has really allowed me to be so, like, open about my status. So, when I first started taking my medication, because I am so attention deficit, if I seen a shiny penny, I would forget to take my medication. So, like, that on top of, because that's a whole nother conversation with, like, the remembrance of why I'm taking this medication, really would, like, slip my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already attention that, like, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So to ask me what I'm inconsistent with, that I can't even find a pencil at my desk sometimes. So,
but and it's almost like we psych ourselves out because. Like the brain knows that we should be doing these things. We know that the science says undetectable is untransmittable. So if you're taking your medications and you don't have a detectable viral load, you can't pass on HIV,
correct.
Right? And so like there are other areas like going to the doctor regularly or asking for our triple site STI testing where they swab the anus, they swab the mouth, they get the urine.
Do you know some people don't get like anal and mouth swabs?
They do not. They do not. And it should be the standard of care, but a lot of people, they don't know to ask and the clinicians don't know to offer or they pretend not to know, right? That's a whole different conversation. It's a whole different conversation.
So yesterday, I was supposed to get my cab. I take a wonderful medication called Cabenuva.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. I take it because I think it's really cool because I am a forgetful person. So an injectable is super duper easy for me to remember.
We should do an episode on injectables.
I love injectables. But it literally was yesterday coming to the office. I was sitting at my desk and I was like, maybe my doctor's office has been reaching out to me because I have missed an appointment, but I've been doing so good with being consistent on my appointments because I am an appointment misser. So the fact that I know I had a 7-day window and I was like, I don't know how far out the window was. We were just at the conference. So, but my doctor's office definitely like commended me on like, hey, you did a really good job on remembering in a certain amount of time. But that like I pride myself on making sure that I make all of my medical appointments on time because like my body, my health.
Yeah.
And I share my body with my partner. So
yeah. Are there things that you do to be more consistent, particularly with like sexual wellness and sexual health? Like the things that you're really good at, you're like, okay, I'm on top of that. I don't miss that.
If this was an after dark, I would literally let you know. But it's because we are being...
It's not. It's definitely right at noon in the daytime.
High noon.
High noon.
So I am really good at making sure that I am I get... Every 3 months, I make sure that I get my STD check. Like, no matter what. It doesn't matter who... Like, it doesn't matter that I'm in a monogamous relationship. Like, I continuously get checked because, like, you know what I'm saying?
Why do you get checked every 3 months?
Because I'm in a monogamous relationship.
That question is not shade. It's to educate our audience.
Because you just never know. Like, you never know. Not to say I don't trust my partner, but I tell my partner, you get tested too. Like, even if you're married, like, you just got to make sure that you check on your health. And it's not to diss or down anybody or tell somebody that you don't believe them. But it's more of, like, I need to check on make sure that my health is good. Anything could shift. Anything could change. Like, anything could lay dormant. Like, you just never know. But making sure I do that, making sure that, like, I educate my spouse now more on, like, my HIV status and things like that, where, like, I'm showing them my viral loads or I'm letting them know, okay, like, this is where it's at. Or even when I was taking when I was taking pills, I'd be like, hey, yo, I missed like 4 days of meds. Like, let me, before we do anything or go any further, like, let me make sure that I get something in my system. I can still be in an undetectable status. I just am very cautious in that way. Like, I'm very scared to pass off.
And I think that, like, your ability to remain consistent with taking care of your health sometimes really is a reflection of how much you value yourself.
Absolutely.
Because I remember being in a very dark place and not wanting to do anything proactive for my health and being like, let nature take its course. Now, here's the thing. What I was saying, let nature take its course about, was not a terminal illness. And so I would have just made myself sick and not have died at all, like, just suffering for no reason. What was that thought?
We will have that conversation outside of this, but I literally, when you said that, it just literally reminded me of a conversation that was just had last night around mental health. It was around mental health and drugs. And when you said just take me out, like, so we were in the car and we were driving down 5th Street in Philadelphia. So if you know what I'm talking about. So we were just like driving past and we seen so many people on the block. And so one of my friends goes, man, they're out there, like, just give me 5 bags of fentanyl. Like, I'm ready to go right now. And it made me chuckle because a lot of times we will do things that will harm ourselves to make ourselves feel better. Like, the harm that we choose sometimes to either encounter our body, our minds, our souls, our spirits, is so much more detrimental than the things that are going on around us. And so I also think about mental health. Like I said, mental health. I just started investing in therapy, and I do cognitive behavioral therapy because I deal with a lot of trauma. And then when we talk about being consistent, when it's time to, like, get in deep and, like, into the like meat and bones of, like, stuff, usually I just dump the therapist because you're in my business. But the therapist that I have
you never mind the fact that you pay them to be in your business.
Good $250 every 2 weeks. This therapist that I have right now, she's, like, so dope. She had asked me a question the other day, and she was asking me about a place of where I was when I was before my transition, and, like, she was calling out my dead name. Like, how would your dead name feel if this, and this, and this, and this? And so I was like, oh, I'm good. And so, like, the next question, she was like, oh, you seem like you, like, real amped. Like, you seem like you got a lot on your chest. And I was like, nah, like, I'm good. Like, I answered the question. She was like, oh, you sassy. And she pivots to another question. And I was like, so, and she was like, no. You had so much sass on this last question. Like, give it your all. Give me the same sass that you had on this. But my mental, like, shut down, and I no longer wanted to, like, participate. So, again, talking about being consistent, I had to take a moment and be like, you know what? Listen, this is how I'm going to go into this. I'm going to stay, like, I'm like, hey, at the end of our session, I'm like, we're still on for another 2 weeks. And to be able to check up, like, that was really cool. I'm sorry. It took me on a tangent from that whole.
I mean, it's the podcast. We wouldn't have anything to talk about without tangents. So I think, this is probably a shorter episode, but I think this is a good place to stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This feels really good to stop here.
And if you haven't taken time to love on yourself and or get therapy, please take a chance on yourself, because it has helped save my life. And it can help save yours.
So, this is a shorter episode.
This was.
But I hope somebody got something out of it.
I do, because I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I did too. So remember, until next time, no matter how you're loving,
just keep on loving.
Bye, y'all.